Television. We're also live on Facebook at Pan African Television, live on YouTube at Pan African Television, as well as 48 African countries. You can join in the conversation by sending in your views, comments, and contributions on a WhatsApp stroke text line. I'll be reading those messages out for you. Those of you watching us on Facebook can share the Facebook Live for other people to also watch tonight's edition of the program. You can as well leave your suggestions, questions, contributions, and all of that on our social media pages, and we're reading all those comments, messages, and contributions you'll be leaving over there. My name is Justice Appiah, and tonight on Hot News, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has discontinued all cases involving the former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Cecilia Abena-Dapaah. In an interaction with the media, Special Prosecutor William Kissi-Agyabeng intimated that he has referred suspicion of money laundering to the Economic and Organized Crime Office for further action in the latest twist to the case. Let's listen to the Special Prosecutor. We'll be right.
Aimed at determining the sources of the large cash sums associated with Ms. Dapaah and Mr. Osei Kufuor. The office has had the benefit of 7 months of in-country and 4 months of collaborative transboundary investigation. Members of the press, on the totality of the gathered evidence and intelligence, it seems to us that the case is largely in the province of suspected money laundering and structuring. By operation of law, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has a specific and direct mandate in respect of suspected cases of money laundering and its attendant activity of structuring. Of the Special Prosecutor is referring the case to EOCO for continued investigation and further action. The office will be in close collaboration with EOCO and continued collaboration with the FBI. A little over an hour ago, the office discontinued its application that was pending before the High Court for a confirmation of the seizure and freezing orders in pursuance of the referral of the case to EOCO. The court ordered that the office should return the cash sums and defreeze the accounts of an investment of Ms. Dapaah within 72 hours. The office also discontinued the procedural criminal charge against Ms. Dapaah for failure to return forms on declaration of property and income, since that was mounted on the original application for confirmation of the seizure and freezing orders, which was discontinued.
Now, in another story, an Accra High Court has convicted 6 of the alleged coup plotters for counts of conspiracy to commit high treason and committing high treason. The court has, however, acquitted Assistant Commissioner of Police Benjamin Agojo, Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, and 1 other junior military officer, Corporal Seydou Abubakar. The 6 convicted for plotting a coup have been sentenced to death by hanging.
The 6 persons, including 3 soldiers, are Donya Kafui, aka Izo, a blacksmith, and Bright Alandebra Ofosu, a fleet manager, were found guilty of conspiracy to commit treason, while Johannes Zikbi, a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces, was found guilty of conspiracy to commit high treason. The 3 soldiers, Warrant Officer Class 2, Esther San Dekuweni, Lance Corporal Ali Solomon, and Corporal Sylvester Akampewon, were found guilty of conspiracy to commit high treason. Dr. Frederick Yao McPalm, now deceased, Donya Kafui, Bright Alan Debra Ofusu, Johannes Zikbi, Warrant Officer Class 2 Esther San Dekuweni, Corporal Seydou Abubakar, Lance Corporal Ali Solomon, and Corporal Sylvester Akampewon were charged for conspiracy to commit high treason. Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli and ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo had each been charged for rebetment. However, following the death of Dr. Frederick Yao McPalm, who was then in the witness box giving testimony, his evidence was deleted from the records after his passing away was confirmed to the court. In the aftermath of the judgment, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo spoke to the media, reiterating belief in his innocence at the outset of the trial.
Jehovah is your name, mighty warrior, strong in battle. Jehovah is your name.
How does it feel to be free after 5 years?
Well, I've always been free within my heart. I've always been free because I knew how it was going to end. From the beginning, I knew that is how it's going to end today. I didn't know when it was going to end, but I knew how it was going to end. It's like watching a movie, a replay with somebody. You know the end, but the person doesn't know. So you people didn't know the end. I knew the end.
So you're confident right from the beginning?
I was too confident.
Have you been contemplating yourself or imagining yourself back in your police uniform?
Well, I don't want to comment about that. I'll talk to my lawyers and then we'll talk to the media at the appropriate time. So thank you.
Lawyer for ACP Agojo, Martin Luther Kpebu, further revealed that his client may consider filing a malicious prosecution suit against the state due to the nature in which the trial was carried out. He believed the state prosecuted his client out of malicious intentions.
You see that from day one, Agojo had always made it clear that, listen, he was just giving advice about how to get citizens active, the TAG group as an NGO to get active. And there was going to be a demonstration. Then he said, look, pass through the legal means. Because he said, look, conditions are ripe in Ghana for another spring. And you see, since the time he spoke, it's gotten worse. That was before COVID hit. And you are aware that when COVID hit, about 850,000 more of our fellow Ghanaians were pushed down into the, below the poverty line. So now more people are hungry, more people are out of jobs. You see, unemployment is gone through the roof. So these are the things he's talking about. Lack of food, unemployment, etc. The suffering of the masses. That's what I said. And yet the state moved a very frivolous case, frivolous to the highest degree, around his neck. And today you see the court has exonerated him. We'll sue the state for compensation. But this case has always been frivolous against him from day one.
Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame expressed satisfaction with the court's decision, citing that the ruling sends out a strong warning to persons seeking to topple the sovereignty of government through unscrupulous means.
Initially, people thought that the whole thing was child's play. They were actually trying to mock the attempt. But you saw the evidence that was laid at the trial. Copious evidence showing systematic attempt by people to organize the overthrow of the government of Ghana. It started from not only meetings, but of course, a concerted effort to put together arms and ammunition, and they actually prepared arms and ammunition to that effect. It was a trial that we put on trial about 10 persons, 5 of them being military officers, a colonel even involved, and other military officers of various ranks, as well as a police officer, as well as one civilian who is part of the Ghana Armed Forces, works in the Ghana, a civilian employee in the Ghana Armed Forces. So really the effort was quite systematic, it was very deliberate, and the prosecution was able to establish clearly all the concerted efforts of the various persons, 6 of them who were convicted. And I believe, of course, the first accused would also have been convicted, Dr. McPalm, because he was actually the grand architect of the whole scheme. But for his untimely demise, clearly, I'm sure he would also have been convicted, and therefore 7 of them would have been convicted. But today, we had 6 out of the 9 people convicted. And for me, it sends a strong signal to the nation that any attempt at all to destabilize the nation, any attempt to organize the overthrow of the constitution will not be countenanced and will be taken quite seriously.
So that was, the issue of, or the conviction of the 6 who have been alleged to have, plotted a coup. But one of the lawyers for persons who have been convicted says they will appeal the death penalty by hanging ruling, of course, on the 6 who have been, convicted, by hanging. And so we'll delve deeper into some of these issues. Also, lawyer for ACP Agojo, Martin Kpebu, has also indicated that the prosecution of the ACP was politically motivated. Do you think so? we would also be discussing that. We have been joined via Zoom by lawyer Abdul Fattah Al-Hassan, popularly known as Lawyer Jofa. He is a private legal practitioner based in Ashaiman. He is also the parliamentary candidate for Yendi constituency on the ticket of a National Democratic Congress. Lawyer, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Hot News. Hello, lawyer, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, lawyer, can you hear me? It seems lawyer cannot hear us, but let me come to the studio as and when he's able to hear us. We'll connect to him. We want to get a proper understanding of these legal issues that we are discussing tonight. And it's only hello, lawyer, can you hear me? Hello? 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 Right, we are having a little technical challenge. As and when that is fixed, we'll get back to lawyer. But I've been joined in the studio by Mr. George A.C., Director of Communications, NADMO, and a member of a New Patriotic Party communications team. Mr. thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's always a pleasure.
Right, also in the studio is Solomon Owusu. Solomon Owusu is a member of Movement for Change. So thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure, and good evening to your cherished viewers across the length and breadth of this world.
I'll start with you on the issue of Cecilia Dapaah. Today, Special Prosecutor is trying to tell us that he has discontinued all cases involving the former Sanitation and Water Resources Minister, Madam Cecilia Abena Dapaah. However, there's this issue of money laundering that he has forwarded to the Economic and Organized Crime Office for further action in the latest twist to the case. What do you make of this? We have all applauded the Special Prosecutor for being very stubborn and recalcitrant in taking up this matter, even when it looked as if he was being frustrated, in the pursuance of this case. He never bothered. Do you think that he has given up on the matter already by discontinuing all cases involving Madam Cecilia Abena Dapaah?
First of all, let me say that the OSP, Kisi Ajabin, just like his predecessor, has amply disappointed the people of this country. Remember when the issue came out, the issue involving the alleged stealing of monies from the house of Madam Cecilia Dapaah. A day after that expose, more than 100 Ghanaians sent petition to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate the matter. Just as the way manner the Special Prosecutor decided to handle that matter right from the onset, sent a clear signal that he was not going to do any good job.
What makes you think so?
The reaction of immediately confiscating or freezing assets without proper investigation meant that, like they say,
is that not the way to go?
It's not the way to go. There is a case that has been sent to court. Remember, it was Cecilia Dapaah and the husband. In fact, the husband was the one that went and reported the matter. Is that the case?
Yeah.
Then Cecilia Dapaah took over and sent the matter to court. And it came out in the public domain that monies involved were so much, and that caught the attention of the public. And so, if you are the Office of the Special Prosecutor, what you should have done is to investigate and come to a conclusion. The act that establishes the Office of the Special Prosecutors, Act 959, mandates that office to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses. And not just to investigate, but also, when identified, retrieve the money to the state. So why wouldn't you start from the point of investigating the matter so that you can come to a safe conclusion. Along the way, the court ordered him to unfreeze the account.
But according to the special prosecutor, he is done with investigations, or he has concluded with investigations into this matter.
It's a shoddy work,
and has forwarded the case to Yoko.
So
he's done with his job.
Who gave him the mandate to be forwarding cases to other institutions? Remember,
is it not within his mandate?
It doesn't fall within his mandate. Yoko prosecutes on behalf of the Attorney General.
Okay.
So, on whose authority is the Office of the Special Prosecutor referring the matter to Yoko? At best, he should have referred the matter back to the Attorney General, advised the Attorney General, or discussed with the Attorney General that these are my findings. And it's very important that we also put on record that where the realm that he's going to, that is the issue of money laundering, he has to establish to us on what basis he came to that conclusion that there is some level or some semblance of money laundering, which is also a serious matter. It means Madame Cecilia Abinat Dapaah, together with the husband, according to the special prosecutor, are alleged to be involved in monies that are from illegal sources. And that is very dangerous. But you see, it comes back to why some of us believed that office.
But why are you doubting the credibility of the office of the special prosecutor? Because we've all seen what the OSP has done with regards to this case. The very first day the issue happened, it came out. They came to Madame Cecilia Dapaah's home here at Abelempe. They searched the entire building. They saw, stash cash, and then they took it away. They later invited her. It continued by confiscating, or freezing some of her accounts, in some of her banks in the country and all of that. There has been legal tussles back and forth in court. The special prosecutor has never relented on their effort to ensure that the right thing is done. So, in a nutshell, the special prosecutor has done a good job that he must be applauded. For why are you doubting the credibility of the special prosecutor?
So the woman in question, Cecilia Abinat Dapaah, was a public officer. Is that the case?
Yes.
So if you are investigating a matter that has to do with corruption, you have to go to the ministry and try and link her activities at the ministry to the monies that we are talking about. Remember when those monies were identified or came to public domain, that these were the amount of money that was the name Patient Botwe and Sarah Ajay had taken from the house. We were told by people close to Abinat Dapaah that the husband was an architect who was well to do, so he could have that money. And within a space of some hours, few hours, another version of it came that, the deceased brother, a supposed deceased brother of Abinat Dapaah, left those monies for her to take care of the kids. And also the fact that they had organized a funeral, and the funeral was able to generate that much needed revenue. So, if you are the office, the special prosecutor, and you are investigating this matter, your focus must be her activities at the Ministry of Sanitation, together with any other ministry that she has headed, and to link her activities there. It will be more or less like an auditing of those ministries to establish that indeed the monies that were found in her house had nothing to do with her position as a government official. We have not been told of any of these. What we are being told now is that it has to do with some alleged money laundering. And how do you expect me to take this serious? Especially when the special prosecutor has told us that he has investigated close to 150 cases, or is investigating close to 150 cases. How many of these cases has actually benefited this country? If at the end of the day, it is that and one, then we must as well scrap that office and make sure that it reverts back to the Attorney General's department, so that the limited resources that the state has, we would invest it in the Attorney General's office to engage more lawyers. Because one of the issues that Attorney General has been complaining over the years is lack of lawyers, and not just lawyers, qualified or quality lawyers. I wouldn't say qualified, quality, high standard lawyers to man these the ministry. And a lot of these good lawyers do not want to go to the Attorney General's department because the remuneration and other incentives that are associated with that office is nothing to write home about, as compared to if the person practices in the private space. And so if there is extra money to do that, I don't think the best option is to go and set up another office and neglect the Attorney General's department.
So you think that the OSP's office is a duplication of function? Duplication of functions,
and the behavior or the performance of these two OSP, i.e. Martin A.B., Alamisi Amidu, and what's the name, Kisi Ajabe, does not encourage any right-thinking Ghanaian that knows the financial position of this country to continue to support this office, especially when this office is not bringing any dividend. It's not bringing any dividend. He himself, only a couple of months ago, had a media encounter and told us that he has become Ankwanoma and that he was not receiving any support and that he was so much frustrated. And I was thinking after that press conference, he would put in a resignation letter so that he would say goodbye to that office. But so long as he continues, it becomes so disappointing to the good people of this country. I do not believe that a good job has been done on this case. If a good job has been done on this matter, I'm telling you, the good people of this country would have gotten dividend. I am not interested in the other issues that is raised in money laundering or whatever. My interest is that whether or not the money that was found in the house or the home of Cecilia Dapaah belongs to me, because I pay tax.
But you don't have any evidence to support that.
No, but that's why he didn't do a good job. If he had done a good job, he would have come with a very good report. The way manner he rushed it gave him out. That he could not substantiate the verity. You see, you could have a very good case. You could have a very good case to nail someone, but the way manner you start the whole investigation will let go the person. And that is what I suspect has happened in this instance. I believe that going forward, institutions must take their time. We are not in a rush to go anywhere. This matter will further sink people's confidence in our institutions. It's like we all of us know. A lot of people come to government with nothing. But within few years, they amass wealth. But when you ask them, where did you get it? They say, oh, you don't have any evidence to establish whether or not the person stole the money from the state. And because we don't do a good job. If we were going to meticulous and then follow step by step, we would always be able to identify that all these wealth belongs to the people of this country, and which will be used to the benefit of the people of this country. So I'm not impressed, and I think he has to go and come back again. And the earlier any successive government look at that office and immediately scrap it.
What were your expectations? What were you expecting the OSP to come out with, apart from, coming out with money laundering as the findings?
But the OSP, first of all, we found money in money that is huge. Remember, there has been conflicting reports as to the amount of money that was in the home or the house of the former sanitation minister.
Right.
Now, this is a government, first of all, that has been preaching that people put money in the bank. Is that not the case? She has been part of cabinet, and they have been telling the people of this country that you must save your money in the banking sector.
Okay.
So that it lives up to its currency nature. It revolves. Now that same person is keeping money in the house. So the question you ask is, what is the source of that money? Where did that money come from? And this is dollar. How did that dollar get into this country? Did the dollar pass through the regular channel? Or she made those money as a result of being a minister? Very instructive, very key. And was she in the position before she came to power with such money? We can trace all these through lifestyle audit, through her own works, to establish whether or not she has the capacity to have such amount. We have not been told any of this. And you want to convince me? That is not to say that she cannot have that money. But if proper investigation would have been done, it would have established the true situation we find ourselves. And I'm urging Madam Cecilia Dapaah, if indeed the OSP found nothing wrong with her, she must sue the OSP for malicious prosecution. Like, what's the name? The lawyer for Agojo, ACP Agojo was talking about. If someone denigrates you, because this case, the way a mother, Cecilia Dapaah, has been bastardized, if she strongly believes that she has not been treated fairly by the OSP, I expect her to go to court for defamation in all the things that she has been taken through. And I'm not sure the Ghanaian is very, very happy with the outcome of what has happened.
In October 2023, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, had joined the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, in a synchronized effort aimed at delving deep into the matters of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah and her husband Daniel Osei Kuffour. This cooperative crusade sought to unravel the legality surrounding the wealth amassed by Ms. Dapaah and her cohorts, traversing the corridors of both Ghana and the United States. Don't you think that this collaborative effort, unraveled the money laundering, findings that we are talking about today, that the OSP is today talking
Let's
about?
make it clear that it has not been established that there is any money laundering in this. It is being alleged. And in the same way that we thought you would do a good job in pushing the agenda of corruption and, for that matter, abuse of public office, that never was. It will go to Yoko, and it will interest you to know that there will not be any foundation for what he is suggesting.
Okay.
So I don't want to put any faith in that. In any case, he had what it takes to do a good job. Is it a case that he didn't have the kind of staff that would enable him to do a thorough investigation into the matter? This is not something I will be proud of.
Very well. I'll come back to you. Thank you so much, Solo, for your submission. Viewers, you're still watching Hot News right here on Pan African Television with me, Justice Appiah. You can join in the conversation by sending in your views, comments, and contributions on a WhatsApp stroke text line. I'll be reading those messages out for you. Those of you watching us on Facebook can share the Facebook Live for other people to also watch tonight's edition of the program. Mr. Isi, let me come to you on the issue of Madame Cecilia Dapaah. OSP says it is done with, they are done with the investigations, and everything has led to the fact that she was actually engaged in money laundering. And for that matter, the matter or the issue has been forwarded to Yoko for further investigations. Your take on this matter?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Justice. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to our viewers, especially my good friend Fuseni, the taxi driver.
Right.
Fuseni, greetings to you and your wife. Cecilia Dapaah's case. You see, we don't, as public officers, charged with the responsibility, clothed with authorities to so execute those responsibilities. We need not pander to the whims of the public.
Okay.
I thought Lawyer Kisia Jabane pandered too early to the whims of the public.
Okay.
And thought that because the public was making hue and cry, he had to jump in willy-nilly and then, start doing what he was doing. At the time, I disagreed. The public anger and other things because there was money in somebody's home does not mean you rush into it. You got to be careful, go into the details of the matter, and then, having established a prima facie case, as a lawyer himself, would then say, okay, I think there's something involved in this, let me go into it. I thought he got carried away by the public's anger at somebody having over $800,000 in the house. So that time, Justice, what I asked myself, and I think one of the opportunities I had here was, do we have any law, okay, that prescribes having money in your house?
No.
Do we have any
There's
law like
no
that?
law that is
yes,
that
yes.
expressly or
says
you know
that.
says that.
Yeah. So what's my crime for having $1 million in my house? You get it?
Okay.
It's on my own. It's at my own risk. You get it? If robbers get to know of it and come invade my house, and for whatever reason take it away, I caused it. Because there's a banking institution where I should have taken it.
Although I agree that there's no law that expressly says that if you have money in your room, anybody should, you know, think that this money is from this place or that place, and for that reason you should be harassed or you should be tagged. But if the OSP also feels that somebody has an unexplained wealth, there's a law that deals with that.
I was coming there. Yes, that's good. That's good. Unlike places like the United States, United Kingdom, if you're carrying about 5,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, you know, they need to know where did you get that money and co. They have processes. And so do we have any such? And two, unexplained wealth. That is why we have the Office of the Special Prosecutor. You get it. So that was why I was saying he shouldn't have jumped into the fray. He should have taken his time, do due diligence, properly investigate how she came about the money before coming out to say, okay, based on A, B, C, D, I think this matter is subject for investigation by the OSP. Full hog investigation. Then he goes in there, okay, because he has the prosecutorial powers to take the matter to court, right? And so I thought if he had been a bit careful and thoroughly looked into the matter with his legal eyes, he would have been able to know what to do. Having said that, I'm not one of those who thinks the Office of the Special Prosecutor is inconsequential. I'm not. I think it's a very important
But
office.
that argument actually came back some time ago anyway.
Yes,
but that the creation of that office is a duplication of function.
It's not a duplication
you know,
of
that,
function.
That you are only giving part of, you know, the Attorney General's powers to that of the OSP to perform. What prevents the Attorney General's office, you know, from
it's not. You know why? If as a country and as a people, we are seriously bent on fighting corruption, that office mandate is to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related issues.
Okay,
The Attorney General prosecutes all criminal matters in this country, right? All criminal matters in this country, okay? And so you look at, you know, the functions of the OSP is a subset of the major set by, you know, the Attorney General. And so it's been hived off. Part of the powers of the AG is being hived off and given to the OSP, okay? And it's so protected that he can carry out or discharge his mandate, right? And that, I think, is a proper thing. So issues relating to corruption and corruption-related, go there, put your evidence there, and let him investigate. And when he's satisfied that there is a prima facie case for the issue to be prosecuted, he so proceeds to the court to prosecute the matter, okay? Expedite action on matters of corruption so that we can have, you know, judgment or pay penalties for people who have conducted themselves corruptly, okay? To protect the public purse. That is important. And the second matter that came up, that how did you come about the wealth, okay? That is good, okay? Based on that, Kisia Jibin should have been careful to proceed on that. Because of the issue that the fact that I have 1 million doesn't mean, if I'm able to explain it, because the issue is unexplained wealth, right?
Yes.
So if I'm able to explain and establish to you that this money is mine, this is how I got it, and that is how come people brought the argument that his husband is a seasoned architect, right? And they pointed about 3 or 4, you know, buildings that is his handiwork in Accra and Kumasi, okay? And so then, plus other suggesting that the brother he had a wealthy brother,
Yeah.
oh yes, and all that. So if there's the basis to explain that, yeah, so I'm happy, and I don't think the OSP came to this conclusion without investigating. They did thorough investigations, okay, and they couldn't clutch onto any straw as far as this matter is concerned. And so all they had to do now is they say they've been able to establish is money laundering.
Money laundering,
yes,
yeah.
and money laundering is not within their remit.
Yes.
And so they pass it on
forwarded
to
it
the
to Iyoko.
Iyoko, okay? And I've know Iyoko once upon a time was calling for prosecutorial powers. You get it, was calling on the Attorney General to give them the powers to prosecute.
Right.
And I think it's a good call they are making, because they've got theirs is purely focused on financial crimes. You get it. And so if that be the case, once they have the technical know-how of finance and others, if they have the powers to also go and do prosecution on behalf of the Attorney General, I don't think it will be a bad case. But hey, that is subject for the discussion going forward. So I think Cecilia Dapaah and the family, should relook at this. It's unfortunate that the whole nation bastardized them. They thought they were good citizens and that somebody had stolen their money. They went to court, and then in the process of the prosecution of the matter, a journalist was present and said, come on, yes, come on, how can huge monies for public service? But that was right. No, that was right. The journalist was right.
Yes.
You know, how can a public servant be having this kind of money?
Yeah, so I was about to ask you this
huge,
question. Can you be candid with your answer? Do you think that Madam Cecilia Abena Dapaah conducted herself well as a public, officer, especially so when she was keeping that huge amount of money?
Why not? She did. Why didn't she conduct herself well? What I agree with Solo is that as a government, we are preaching people the saving culture and others. So that on that score, I think as a member of cabinet or a cabinet minister, she should have been the first to be leading by example. Okay, that aside, maybe she knows they have a reason for keeping the money in their home. You get it? Maybe they have a reason. Some people, when they wake up and they open the safe and see the money, they get satisfied.
But mind you,
yes.
you know that wasn't the only money found, with Madam Cecilia Abena Dapaah.
Yeah.
After that, those that the ladies actually, the ladies stole, allegedly. We are talking about a stash cash that was also found in the home after OSP came to search the house. Then those that were found in her bank account, according to the special prosecutor and all of that, those monies we are talking about are huge monies.
And this special prosecutor
explaining how these monies were made.
He has finished with his investigation and has decided not to proceed with the prosecution. What does that tell you? It tells you he's convinced that the woman has been able to justify how she got that money.
Okay.
Are you telling me Despite and Co don't have this kind of money? Are you telling me Ghanaians don't we have millionaires in Ghana?
We know their businesses.
We have dollar millionaires in Ghana.
We know their businesses. We know the businesses they are doing. But we don't know the business
that is been long this thing. It's been in Kufuor's government. You know that?
I know.
I know. How do you know the husband is an architect? Okay? Do they have joint account?
Then right now, some people should be filthy rich.
No. That's why I am now satisfied that if the special prosecutor had chanced on anything, that gave her away.
You think that by
he will not be running to the court to prosecute
of the fact that he's not been able to come up with any other thing than money laundering, then he doesn't have any concrete evidence to prove that the woman, was actually engaged in something
corruption and corruption related. And so, if he had been able to establish that the woman was not able to justify how she came by the money,
right?
That is corruption. Because do you know why? No. Some people had made the argument that there was a is it the Silton or something contract of about $43 million, and they suspect she took that money and all that flimsy, whimsical allegations and arguments. Okay, look, that's why the court is very important. The name of the game is evidence. If you don't have evidence, keep your rumors or your speculative thinking to yourself. You get it? You go and bastardize somebody's mother and all that. She's a thief and all that. And here we are. The president wrote that I have trust in you. And I know by the end of the day, you will be acquitted. People say, why did the president say that? Then I ask, why would the president appoint somebody he does not repose trust in to be his representative in any sector, as a sector minister?
People, at the time, people thought that we are fighting corruption.
Yes.
So the president shouldn't have jumped to the defense of,
no, he didn't.
You know,
He didn't. So, okay.
his appointee.
So you mean that it had a telling on how the special prosecutor got to this conclusion? No. The president knows the person. I would have been disappointed if the president had said he didn't repose any trust in the woman. But then why did you make her your minister? Okay? Why did you make... If you don't trust anybody, you have no business making him or her your minister. In the first place. Okay? Because the ultimate responsibility is on you. If he goes to disgrace himself and go, you didn't make a right choice. We know how appointments are made. Recommendations and all that come in. The president wouldn't know everybody. But Solomon recommends X to the president. The president decides to take X. Because he knows Solomon and he trusts Solomon. Yeah. So Solomon's recommendation will not be to betray or disgrace him, right? And so that is the basis upon which he may decide to say, okay, Solomon's person should be put there. And I know a lot of people were put there because of people's recommendation. You've heard Kennedy Agyapong say severally that most people had positions and made my appointment. Somebody recommended me, named me, then, you know, I was called to take that position. So people make recommendations. You get it? So these are matters that we need to know. But I'm happy Kissi Agyebeng is decided, having done all his investigation, followed the media brouhaha and all that, has come to this conclusion. Because you go to court and you don't have evidence, you'll be disgraced. But it doesn't also mean that that office... Look, let me tell you something. Can you imagine what it would be if Special Prosecutor's Office were not there and the Attorney General did not show any interest in this matter when it happened? You get it? People will still think she stole money. OSP's office is important because today he had done investigations, coming to conclusion that the woman had basis for having that money, even though we all blame that it should have been in the bank. You get it? But the bank matter aside, there's basis that OSP has established. She didn't steal the money or it wasn't a corruptly acquired money. So she can walk out, chest out. But for the presence of the OSP, how was she going to do that? How was she going to... She will be that path. No matter how difficult it is, we will get to the point where we will begin to make proper... This is the beginning of the journey. It's going to be tumbling, we'll be crawling, we'll be falling, we'll be rising, and we'll be walking and before we get to run. Right. When we get to that point, everybody will begin then to appreciate that it was good we decided to tread that path.
That was Mr. George Acey, Director of Communications, NADMO. I'll come back to the next topic, but let me engage our let me bring our viewers in. This one says, good evening, Justice. My boss, Iraman, there's no Iraman, he's on point. He was truly a teacher from Sly in the ND. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, Mr. Host. This one says, Mr. Host, the 24-hour economy. No, we are not talking 24-hour economy here. Justice, good evening. I like Solo so much. Please tell him to join the NDC. He's here. He will respond to this one. OSP has failed Ghanaians. He must resign. My name is Beidou Thompson from Ejumakun Asasan in Ejumakun Enyan Esien constituency. Greetings to Honorable Ato Forson. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, monetization in politics was started by the MPP party, by former President Kufuor. This is from Napoleon in Tumu. Thank you so much, Napoleon, for your message. This one says, good evening, Justice. Can anyone boldly come out to tell us he or she has lost he or she has lost the money? Okay, and so to suggest that the money that was found in Madam Cecilia Dapa's home, was stolen. My greetings to the incoming president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, S. Bukadi, Upper West. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, good evening, Justice. In fact, did you think that the MPP will allow the OSP to work? It's a big no. God himself is disappointed in the entire MPP to rule a nation like Ghana. It is not about English. It is about critical thinking. God save Ghana. This is Sharif from WA. Sharif sent in this one from WA. This one says, good Mr. Host, how? I wish those who follow President Akufo-Addo in 1995 during Kumprekum demonstration will surely understand that former President Rawlings is a prophet by the act. I really don't get that part of the message, but kindly send it again. You mentioned my boss's name, but I really don't get that part of it. This one also says, the fight against corruption has finally collapsed in Ghana. The OSP has hung his boot and Cecilia Dapa left off the hook. The country will bleed to death. Maxwell Kiki from Tongo. Maxwell, thank you so much for your message. This one says, good evening. I just want to find out what Cecilia Dapa's office not audited, and if it was audited and everything was okay, why all this push? Ghanaians must be serious. Thank you so much for your message. This one says, from the very day of Cecilia's case, I knew nothing will happen at the end. I'm not surprised at all that the OSP is lucky. He would have lost his position if he had continued the case. Baba and Sampa sent in that one. Baba, thank you so much for your message. This one says, the media must also be blamed. Why should we be blamed? Why are you laying the blame at our doorsteps? What did we do? Good evening, Justice, and to your enlightened panelists. The MPP government has run away from their own shadows and, enchanted. We are for production and not taxation. Looking at the way things are going, every married couple will soon be taxed. Thank you so much for your message. Then I'm glad that I'm not married yet, so I would not pay that tax anyway. Mr. Host, please kindly, where is that money? I don't know. If you ask me, you can ask the special prosecutor. This one says, my question is, where is Cecilia Dapa going to keep that money, even if Yoko also find out the money is not a stolen money? Okay, thank you so much for your message. I think we have, 10 minutes to go. I'll give you 5 minutes solo to deal with the issue of the conviction of the 6 persons who have been alleged to have plotted a coup in this country. They've been convicted, by the court, and they are to be hanged.
Quickly, let me say that I still maintain that the office of the special prosecutor is needless. It's a waste of country's resources, and it must be scrapped as a matter of agency. It is not adding anything to the governance of this country, and that this country must strive at all times to have people who are honest at various positions. Nobody can convince me sitting here that a good job has been done. Indeed, the recommendation by the office of the special prosecutor tells all of us that there was something wrong. If we say it's in the nature of a money laundering structure, and you go into the definition of what money laundering is,
right,
it tells you that all is not well. So we must look at it from that aspect as well.
Okay.
Conviction of 6 soldiers.
6 alleged coup plotters.
Coup plotters. And then all of them were soldiers.
Conspiracy to commit high treason and committing high treason.
Well, all of them. I mean, one was a driver or something.
One, was a civilian.
The Debra guy was a civilian. It's a civilian, let me put it that way. I think it's a step in the right direction. See, I always come to your studio and advise Ghanaians that the issues of coup d'etat is a weighty matter that you cannot play with it. Remember, all of us go and queue to vote for a particular person. So we go and exercise our rights under the constitution of the land to elect someone to lead it. If for any reason the person is not performing, there are legal frameworks within which you can operate to get the person out, or you have to wait for 4 years before you go and exercise your right again under the constitution to get the person out. It does not lie in your hands to go and plan to curtail someone's tenure of office. It is absolutely not right, because you might not have the mandate of the entire Ghanaian to carry out that exercise.
Right.
And on this occasion, the case started somewhere 2021, right? And 2023 judgment was given. I listened to the facts of the matter, and close to 13 witnesses appeared in court. 7 of them being military personnel or officers, and they were led by the Director of Military Intelligence. And 7 of these military officers testified against these people that they followed through their activities to nail them. To the extent that the court was able to acquit 3 of them, it means they had compelling evidence, both audio, visual, and so on, to nail them. To that extent, if the law, you are found culpable or foul of the law, who am I to say the court did not do? It's a high treason case, and the court, to that extent, has done a yeoman's job. And we must discourage Ghanaians that with the slightest of provocation, they want to call for coup d'etats, to refrain from this act and give democracy a chance. After all, the more reason why when we come here, the movement for change, I always preach to you that the people of this country must give Mr. Alan Kyerematen the opportunity of leading this country. Is the issues that we are discussing. If you allow any shallow politician to come and sway your mind with lofty promises, and based on that you go and vote for that person, for the person to come and waste your time, it doesn't lie with you to say, I'm going to do a coup d'etat. You decided not to think through the policies. We are getting into election 2024. We have some few months. Candidates are presenting themselves. Have you asked that critical question, that who amongst these candidates has presented a plan? Who has the solutions for this country? And which of the plans or solutions are capable of dealing with the myriad of problems that we find ourselves? Right. We are not asking this critical question. We are only following Shirado, Hejoboro, Ezuzaha, Zazazu. Someone was asking me whether I will join the NDC.
The person wants you to join
the person must rather go and tell both the NDC and the MPP, having polarized, having destroyed this country, to immediately look at the option of getting a competent independent candidate who has a plan. Currently, it's only Mr. Alan Kyerematen that has put forward a plan. None of the candidates has any plan to implement in this country. They are only lying through their teeth. Almost 32 years of governance in this country, they have nothing to show except poverty. When you go on the streets, all the youth, the young guys are now do not know. The first one, I allowed George to speak for more than 30 minutes. And I was sitting here. I came before him.
But we need to give him, the rest of the time, because we have just 4 minutes.
So at the end of the day, they must not entertain these 2 political parties that are busy for nothing, and they have no iota of clue as to how to get us out of our problems.
Thank you so much, Solo, for your submission. Mr. Ezekanli, take us on the issue of the...
When President Kufuor was president, a certain man called Alan John Kojo Kyerematen was part of that government.
Yes.
When Anado became president, that same man
was part of
the government. You sit here and tell us MPP NDC has destroyed Ghana. But he is not culpable. He's not part of the destruction. He is not part of the destruction.
So what are you talking about?
He was MPP from God knows when. Until now. Now you say MPP has destroyed. He is not part. But I'm happy that of all the totems, animals and co, he decided to go for the part of
But what is wrong with the butterfly? What is wrong with the butterfly? No, tell me what is wrong.
I love that. This one is a family matter.
He's my family. So long, we have been here. We have defended.
I know.
From God knows where me and this church.
You should go to Agogo and you talk about Agogo.
Let me talk Agogo. Oh, that's good. To be honest, I'm happy for Agojo, to be honest with you. I'm happy for him because I was worried. He's one of the brilliant policemen that we have.
Very well.
Because Solo has touched on the other parts extensively, but I'll just touch more. But the Agojo angle, you saw, I'm happy you played this thing. But I can say, I'm not a lawyer, but I think Martin Pebu's case will not fly. You are a lawyer. When he goes for that whatever, they will go into the nitty-gritties of certain advice, so-called, that a seasoned police officer, PhD, was giving these people. So if he decides to go for the suit, these matters are the matters, you know. So Martin Pebu should not travel on that road at all. He should be happy and thank the Lord that he's put up a good defense for Dr. Agojo and Kojoga Daudu, and they all came as a team to win. I'm happy, and I'm happy Doctor is going to get back to his uniform. You get it? He's a brilliant. No. He was on suspension. Yes. No, he's I don't think he's due. Maybe even about 4 or 5 years to go.